Don't throw away that top you love with great shape. It has holes from wear. And don't yet donate that dress you bought that you didn't try on in the store, because who has time for that when you have young kids? You know, the dress that you thought you loved because of the fabric, but then you tried it on at home and good grief, it makes you look 3 sizes bigger. But it was such a good deal that it wouldn't even be worth the gas money to return it. Or just find a great dress at Goodwill that you can deconstruct. Let's transform these 2 pieces into a one-of-a-kind great summer top. With your seam ripper, remove the neck and armbands from the body of the top. Then, cut down the side seams of the top, as we're going to use these pieces to make patterns for our new front and back pieces. Fold the back section exactly in half and put the fold along the edge of the pattern paper. Trace, leaving an extra 5/8 inch around your piece for the seam allowance. Trace an extra 1.5 inches up the hem line so that you have plenty of length to make a hem if needed. At the top of the front piece, mark with a pin on each side of where the gathers begin. Then remove gathering so the piece is completely flat. Follow the same steps for the front piece as you did for the back, marking the spot with a pencil where the pin lies to indicate where the gathers should start and end. Cut your skirt or dress apart into sections along the seam lines. My dress had 2 layers, the top being a sheer and the bottom or lining a stretch polyester knit. I needed to use both layers in my top. Pin your new paper pattern pieces to your skirt fabric and cut out, with the fold line on the fold of your fabric. I needed to cut out each layer separately. If you can place the bottom of your pattern along the already existing hem in the skirt, all the better, as you will not need to hem. I was able to do this, which is why 1 inch of my pattern is sticking out from the fabric. I did not need the seam allowance, but I have it on the pattern if I want to make this top from scratch. In fact, I even made paper patterns for the neck and armhole pieces because I really like the cut of this top and might want to make another from scratch. If applicable, pin front lining to the top piece and back lining to the top piece. If possible, use a ruler and rotary cutter to trim up the side seams to make them perfectly straight. Using a straight stitch, stay stitch top pieces to their lining pieces 3/8 of an inch away from the side and top edges. This will help prevent the sheared top piece from sliding around when sewn and will also stabilize the stretchy fabric so it doesn't stretch out when sewn. Use a longer stitch length for this stay stitch, like a 3 or 4. Next, make 2 parallel stitching lines between the 2 pins that mark the gathering points on the front top piece using a basting stitch. These 2 lines should be about 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch away from the top edge, leaving long threads on both the beginning and the end to pull for gathering. With right sides together, pin back neck piece to back top piece, matching the edge of the neck piece to the 3/8 inch stay stitching line. Repeat this step in the front, easing the gathers into place. Sew right along the edge of the neck piece using a stretch knit or jersey stitch. I'm really happy with how it's turning out so far. But there is a stitch that's showing from my stay stitching, but we will just rip it out with the seam ripper. This is a view of the back, and I haven't even ironed it yet, so it'll look even better after ironing. Next, trim away all seam allowances down to the stitching, being careful not to cut the stitching. As you can see, my next step will be to attach the armholes to the front and back sections of my top. When sewing each of these sections, check underneath to make sure your surface is nice and flat. My very last step is to sew up the side seams. I was so happy with how this top turned out. You can make one beautiful brand new top from 2 items you can't wear. In this case, 2 wrongs really do make a right. If you'd like to see more great transformational projects, I would really appreciate you hitting subscribe below and give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching Threadhead TV. I'm Jude Bell.
Is this thing on YouTube? Mom!